Welcome to this, another video in a series produced by Our Lady of the Greenwood for the Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults process. The title of this video is Canon Law. Resources used in compiling the video include the New American Bible, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and some excerpts from literature produced by the Association of Catechumenal Ministry. In short, Canon has various instructional meanings. The laws of the Church includes precepts of divine laws and provides the basis for church discipline and dogma consistency. So let's begin with Canon Law and look into its origin. Jesus established his church through the words of Matthew, "I will give you the key to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." There are several ways of looking at canon law. It comes originally from the Greek canon with a K. It means standard, or measuring rod, or rule, or practical direction, or a list or catalog. When you use the word canon, there are things like the canon of the Bible, which is the standard list of books, the canon or standard part of the Mass, which is about what doesn't change daily, and the canonization of saints means the names of those holy ones that may be included in the canon at Mass. There's a legacy of the Roman Empire link. As the Church became more influential part of the Roman Empire, canon became a term used by it exclusively. In the 4th century, the word canon was applied only to the laws of the Church, with civil laws being designated by another Greek term. Latin for canon is canon with a C, and canon law, as the term for church law, became common by the 12th century. Let's talk about canon versus ecclesiastical law. Canon law can reference some civil law issues, while ecclesiastical laws are those made solely by the church authorities. Now let's move on and talk about canon law elements. The basics. Canon law includes precepts of divine law and takes its authority from God, and many of the basic elements are found in the Gospels and other New Testament books of the Bible. Also, church tradition is included in the compilation of canon law. Canon law addresses the primacy of the papacy, threefold structure of holy orders, the indissolubility of marriage, the essential elements of worship, and many, many other topics. The focus of canon law is specifically addressed to the good order of the church and society, not to the conscience of the individual. As an example, in the case of marriage, canon law determines what is valid and invalid in marriage, while for the individual, the moral law determines whether a person has or has not committed a sin. Let's move on a bit now and talk about canon law and due process. It's about consistency. As a matter of discipline, canon law addresses administrative due process. There is a matter of justice and the expression of moral law. Sometimes the detail of the law's implementation can be changed. Here's an example. The Sunday Mass obligation established originally that Saturday evenings were not included as part of the Sunday Mass obligation. Now, a Mass Saturday evening does qualify as Sunday requirement. All of this happened inside canon law decisions. Canon law is made by bishops in communion with the Pope. Each law, that is canon, derived from church councils are significantly important, and the Pope also has the power to make canon law and change it. The Roman Curia, the central administrative, legislative, and judicial body of the Church, can also draft laws for approval by the Pope. Let's look at the law's scope. Canon law was promulgated in 1983. It covers an enormous variety of subjects, everything necessary to manage the affairs of the Church with over 1 billion members. It has to do with the authority of the bishops, the organization of diocesan offices and their parishes, how sacraments are administered, the elements of the life of priests, nuns, and brothers in religious orders. Further, it talks about preaching and catechis, sacred places, churches, material property, administrative procedures. There is an intersection with civil law as well. The Church ensures it conforms to the civil laws of a locality regarding property and the like. There are exceptions to canon law made. They're known as privilege, and it is a permanent exception granted to certain groups or persons. Example is the customization of how holy days of obligation will be arranged and celebrated in a given region. Canon law is binding. It's an expression of moral law. Through the authority passed from Jesus to St. Peter, canon law is binding on all the faithful as an expression of moral law. Belonging to the Church means living within the canon law. And finally, canon law is a treasure in its scope, fairness, and humaneness that should be cherished by us all. That's it for the topic of canon law. Thank you for traveling us on a journey in faith for the rite of Christian initiation of adults at Our Lady of the Greenwood.